My mother rarely smiled, but when she did, her head would tilt to one side, her crimson-colored lips parted slightly, and her black pupils danced against the pearls of her eyes. One time when this happened, we were sitting in front of our yard overlooking the crops of corn, beans, and potatoes near our home in the small city of Yusan. "Daughter," she whispered, pulling me into her arms. The smell of her body mixed with the chamomile scent from the tulgukwa that had bloomed early and through which we had been walking. It was my 4th birthday, on the 5th day of the 5th month. As was customary, I had had a bowl of white rice for my morning meal to celebrate. My mother stroked her belly, which was swollen. Her second child was due, she had told me, in the 10th month of this year. "I am all yours for a little while longer. Then you will have to share me," she said. Her eyelashes reminded me of the wings of the tiger butterflies I saw in the mornings as they floated around the azaleas in the garden. "I want to tell you many things," she continued. "I just don't know where to begin." "Amma, I want to know what 'I love you' means." I smiled, relaxing into her arms, feeling her hard stomach against my back. "I heard Abuji say this to you once." "I will tell you, but before I begin, I beg you not to tell others," she said quietly. "I promise," I said, my gaze falling on some sparrows nearby. I can't remember all of what my mother said next, Tebum, since I was only a small child at the time, but she told me many stories from my childhood years later and as I grew older, and I will recount some of them for you here. "My family, your ancestors, came from a northern province in Chosun," my mother began. "I grew up in a small cement house with my 2 sisters and 3 brothers. I was the eldest. I was the bravest. I was—" Her words trailed off for a moment. "The most outgoing. I danced my way to school. I sang songs not only about our great father and eternal president Kim Il-sung, but about flowers and clouds, smiling children. Of course, I sang songs from the Soviet Union too. We all did." She smiled. "The darkness comes over the garden," she sang for me in her perfect soprano voice. "Even the light has gone to sleep, the night in the suburbs that I love, the nights in the suburbs of Moscow." I loved to sit with my mother and listen to her in this way. "By the time I was 20, she continued, I was a much sought-after bride in the city of Hwaryong where we lived. Men from all over Chosun came to Hwaryong to find their wives, because Kim Il-sung's first wife, Lady Kim Jong-suk, was from there." "Like Abuji," I said eagerly. "I knew my father had been born in Yusan. He went all the way there to find you." "Yes," my mother hissed softly, like I imagined one of the tiny green snakes I'd seen in the hills might do. "But there was another man before your father, a military man, with a straighter back than mine and thick shoulders. He was so handsome in his uniform, but he left me with a sinking feeling. I knew we would always remain apart." "Amma, what is the matter?" I asked, seeing the sadness in my mother's face. She ignored my question. "I was always called a pretty girl. I had many friends and I loved to sing, but I was never interested in boys. I sang and played the flute at the community center. At one of my performances, a military man came backstage and said his friend wanted to meet me. The year was 1960. I met that military man, and he and his friend and I continued to meet every night following my performances for many months. The man told me I sang like a nightingale. After some time, I knew the day was approaching when he would ask his family if he could marry me. I also knew that before they could say yes, I would have to submit to them a full list of my relatives to show that I came from a patriotic family. A good man, like this man, could only marry a woman loyal to the regime. But I would never be that woman, Sunhwa. I had family members, an uncle and my grandfather who had fled to the south by ship at the end of the war. My grandmother had helped some American army men who came to the north in search of